business is the oath of office for our newly appointed council member, John Seamers. Mr. Seamers, you want to join?
You'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, John Seamers,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I possess the qualifications
I possess the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office to which I have been appointed,
for the office to which I have been appointed,
and that I will support
and that I will
the
support
Constitution of the
The Con-
United States
the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
affecting charter cities,
affecting charter cities
and all of the ordinances
and all of the ordinances
of the city of Raymore,
of the city of Raymore,
and that I will faithfully discharge my official duties
and that I will faithfully discharge my official duties
in the office of council member
in the office of council member
for which I have been appointed.
for which I have been appointed.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Warner.
Sign here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie, and let the record reflect that Councilmember Seamers has now joined us at the dais. Under personal appearances, we have Ms. Sharon Paris with the Arts Commission. Ms. Paris, please step forward.
Good evening,
Good
Mr.
evening.
Mayor, council members, city staff, and guests. Happy fall, finally arrived, thankfully. As you know, we're doing our quarterly exhibit here in the gallery, and tonight it's my pleasure to introduce the third quarterly installment of the Art Commission Local Artist, and here to talk about the exhibit and something about the history of the Art League is Sandra Braga, the president of the league. I'd like to bring Sandra up, please.
Hello.
Hi,
Nice to
Sandra.
be here tonight. Hello, everyone. I'm just here for a few minutes to talk about the Art League. We originally were meant to kind of encompass people that lived in the Jackson, Cass, and Johnson County. Most of our members today live in the Belton-Raymore area, along with Lee Summit. We will be celebrating our 50th anniversary year next year, so we're all looking forward to that. Currently, our meetings are held the third Tuesday of the month at the Community Bank of Raymore from about noon to about 2:30. During the course of the year, we have lots of activities. Along with our business meeting, we usually have a program, about 3 or 4 workshops during the course of the year. We also have paint-ins during the summer months from June, July, and August. And then more recently, we're getting ready, geared up to have our annual arts festival. We are a nonprofit group. Majority of our members range anywhere from professional to hobbyist to amateur. We will have local artists exhibit at our arts festival, along with students from the Raymore Peculiar School Districts, Belton School Districts, and I believe we have a private school involved as well, Heartland Academy. The Student Art Contest is going to be sponsored by the Raymore Arts Commission. Thank you very much. And the location this year is going to be at the High Blue Wellness Center. It's going to be partially sponsored by the Belton Parks Department. So we're really looking forward to all of this. I'd like to talk a little bit about our display. We have about 7 members that have art here tonight. One of them here tonight is Carolyn Hewlett. Carolyn, would you like to stand up? She has been an active member for 20, 30 years. Since 82. Exactly, quite a while, and she's still very active, very helpful. Several of our members are not able to be here tonight. Our past president was Jennifer Parker. She went to Italy last year and brought back a lot of pictures for us. She painted that specific painting in oils from her trip to Italy. Donna Eckhoff has displayed the second one there. We have Barbara Gann, Donna Eckhoff again, Barbara Gann, I'm trying to figure out Linda Wisely. She recently did a pastel workshop for us. She's also planning on, I think, on teaching a workshop at the, for the Arts Council at the Park House. And she does quite a bit of work, lots of variety of medium. I've done the hibiscus there, the white flowers. Linda Wonder also lives in the area. She kind of specializes very realistic wildlife and animals. She's done the wolf. And Linda Wisely, again, the pastels in the corner there with the dog and pups. So you can see we've got a lot of talent and a lot of variety. We are also on the on Facebook. For more information, just do a search, Tri-County Art League. We're also posted on the Bilton Parks website, and I believe the Arts Council as well. I've lived in the Bilton-Raymore area all my life, and this, to me, is really exciting that you all have the foresight and the initiative to start up an Arts Council and promote the arts in Raymore. So again, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure here tonight, and I'm looking forward to working with you more.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
We appreciate that color that you bring to our council chamber. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
You're welcome.
Sharon, did you have something
One
else?
last word. I
Sure.
would like to just give a special thanks to Meredith and her staff for hanging all the artwork. I mean, she does a great job, and it looks fantastic. And I think we're looking forward to the student art contest on November 13th, so please come out to watch that. And then those winners will be displayed here in the chambers in January, some like we did this year. So we're looking forward to seeing these young artists. And again, this is a wonderful opportunity, and we really appreciate the, the efforts of everyone here to help make this work. So
Thank you, Sharon. Well, we appreciate you. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much for the hard work you guys do.
Thank you very much.
Next item is staff reports. Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, sir. I would ask that Mr. Carteret please make a report for community development.
Thank you. Just want to briefly review a few of the upcoming meetings that will be held. This Wednesday, October 12th at 6 o'clock, we'll hold a Good Neighbor meeting for a proposed reclassification of zoning and preliminary plat for parcel 5 and 7 in the Eagle Glen subdivision. These are the two parcels that are immediately north of the Eagle Glen School. Previous years, we've had a couple of applications regarding these two parcels, some changing of boundary lines, et cetera, and the property owner, Mr. Bob Jackson, is coming forth with a slightly revised proposal from what you've seen in the past. That'll be coming forth in front of the Planning Commission and Council later, but a Good Neighbor meeting on Wednesday to go over that with the immediate neighbors. Then on October 18th, the Planning Commission has a couple of items on their agenda. They'll consider the Timber Trails open space plat. This is a plat that will dedicate the Johnston Drive extension land area to the city. This will be the connection of Johnston between Fox Haven subdivision and Dean Avenue. And then there's it's about a 15-acre park site that will be on the south side of this roadway extension. So it's the land area between the existing timber trails and what would be Johnston Drive. It's where the trail meanders through right now that goes from Lamore Estates over to Dean Avenue. So they'll be dedicating, or they'll be platting that particular land area as part of the plat. They're not quite ready to dedicate it yet, but it will be forthcoming. And then we have a preliminary and final plat for the 7th phase of the Evanbrook subdivision. So this is a subdivision started 20-plus years ago by Mr. Bob Evans. His grandson owns a small 8-acre parcel at the very southern end of Sunset Lane. It's kind of just been a piece of a puzzle that's been missing. He's coming forward to plat a 24-lot single-family subdivision there. It's part of the project where we have funded the extension of Sunset Lane. So he is coming in and partnering with that, going to extend Cindy Lane and actually plat and develop all 24 lots in there. So that'll close out the Evanbrook subdivision. And then on November 1st, the commission has several items on the agenda. The site plan for Panda Express and the Raymore Marketplace will be considered, as well as a site plan for an expansion proposed to the Creekmore Clubhouse. And then we'll be having the public hearings for the rezoning and preliminary plat for the Eagle Glen parcels that I already identified. So those are the activities that are coming up for the Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Jim.
you.
Any questions? Jim, do you know, is the Cadence project on track time-wise? Have you heard how they're doing over there?
I believe it is. A lot of activity out there now doing all the infrastructure work, underground work at this point in time, but I believe it's still on
On
schedule.
track? Okay, thank you. Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Cataret. I would ask Mr. Mustine to please make a report for the Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you, sir. Members of the council. I've submitted a written report, and I would like to just give a couple highlights of some stuff going on. First of all, I would like to report that our first ever Trucktoberfest on September 30th was a very successful event. We were very pleased with the turnout and the comments and the response that we've had from the community. It seems to be this will be an annual event from this point going forward, so that turned out very well. We youth basketball registration's open right now. The early bird discount ends on the 28th, and then we'll have it a couple more weeks where for late registrations. Harvest Night is also on October 28th, so it's at 6 o'clock at Recreation Park. So if you're interested in that, give us a call or check out our Facebook page. We have more information on the Harvest Night event. Would like to also announce the trail work at Recreation Park that was part of the bond project. The trail work will begin tomorrow. We'll start taking portions of that trail and removing the bad spots and repairing that before we go and do a fog seal over the entire thing. So that work begins, just a notification. The Recreation Committee of the Park Board meets tomorrow night. And finally, my park superintendent, Steve Rulo, and I just attended the National Recreation and Parks Association National Congress. That's the annual conference that happened to be in St. Louis this year, and it was very, very good, and we got a lot of great information, a lot of stuff for our upcoming projects and our parks and stuff, so well worth the time and the effort of going. So we appreciate and thank you for allowing us to do that. So that concludes staff report.
Any questions on Mr. Mustine? Yes, Mr. Holman.
Mr. Mustine, has our contractor begun the shade structure project at the ball field yet? I know if not, they're getting close.
Yes, sir. The materials are on order, and the project is still on schedule to begin construction as soon as baseball is complete for the fall. So everything should be ready, delivered, and ready to go as soon as the last game's played.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mustine. I would ask Chief Zimmerman to please make a report for the Police Department Emergency Management.
Well, I'm not going to bore you with a lot of stats, but I'm going to start off with some stats. I'm going to talk about our investigations division tonight, our detectives and what our detectives do. So I'll give you just a little bit of background about our caseload currently, which is where the numbers come in. For those of you not familiar with what Part 1 crimes are, those are the more serious crimes: murder, rape, robbery, burglary, auto theft, those types of crimes. And not surprisingly, probably to anyone here, the majority of our crimes here in Raymore are property crimes. Thankfully not a lot of violent crime that occurs here, but I'm going to give you just a few numbers here and compare what we do to the national averages, because obviously our clearance rate, which we're very proud of, is well above the national average. Our detectives do an excellent job, considering that it's a sergeant and 2 detectives that work on the majority of those cases. And then I'll give you, just a couple of examples that I'd like to share with you all. But again, not surprisingly, of the 269 cases that have occurred in 2016, 90% of those are property crimes. And currently, we're experiencing about a 30% clearance rate of those 269 cases compared to 19% about nationwide. The national clearance rate for violent crimes, which is about the other 10% of what we experience here, the national clearance rate is around 46% compared to about 86% here in Raymore. So we're clearing those violent crimes very, very successfully. And again, we obviously investigate a lot of Part 2 crimes, which are the minor, more misdemeanor types of crimes. It may come as a surprise, maybe not, that a fairly significant percentage of the crimes that we're investigating are crimes that actually are not occurring here in Raymore, and those are identity theft crimes. 13% of our crimes actually are identity theft, where the victim is located here, and then obviously either an account gets hacked or there's some sort of forgery, a check, written appropriately, that sort of thing. And so those crimes don't occur here. Obviously, we investigate those here, and so that that becomes part of our reporting, for our crimes. I do want to share with you that, one of the things which, I know will not surprise anyone on the council is the obvious willingness of all of our people within the police department to assist other agencies. We serve subpoenas for the prosecutor's office. We do a variety of residence checks for outside agencies, looking for individuals who are wanted on crimes that happen in other places. And our folks serve on a variety of metro squads. I will share with you that Captain Wilson was recently asked to be the officer in charge of the metro squad of the body that was dumped out on Peculiar Drive. And that isn't something that's done lightly. When a metro squad is formed, it takes lots of approvals from the metro chiefs and sheriffs. And so for one of our folks to be picked as the officer in charge of that, that's a fairly important detail to make sure that those detectives from agencies all throughout the metropolitan area are working in cooperation with each other to investigate those crimes when the agency doesn't have the resources or the wherewithal to investigate those things themselves. So, the fact that our folks are frequently called upon to serve on those metro squads and even to be an officer in charge of one of those metro squads is fairly significant. I wanted to share just one case with you really quickly, just to show the excellent police work that those folks do in there. And this was in late 2015 when we had a case of a counterfeit bill being passed at Walmart. A suspect vehicle was identified from surveillance. It turned out not to be the individuals, but through just good old-fashioned police work with interviewing folks and finding out that this was a car that was similar, a name that was similar, to the individuals who were identified on the surveillance. Our officers, our detectives, started a co-investigation with the Secret Service and Belton and a number of other police departments in the metropolitan area, served search warrants over in Belton, and actually were able to recover, not only guns and drugs and things, but actual counterfeiting equipment from these individuals who were printing off money over in Belton, and passing it in Raymore. But that was absolutely from the good police work of our detectives, who could have easily gone to Walmart, recovered that bill, and not taken it any further. But a counterfeiting ring, that was actually operating all throughout the metropolitan area actually came about as a result of the good detective work of our folks. And then last but not least, I just want to read, and I'm going to read the quote in its entirety because I think it's significant. Cass County Prosecutor Ben Butler had actually written about our detectives, and he said, "There's no one better than Raymore Police Department detectives, period. The success rate for cases referred by Raymore for prosecution is directly attributed to the strength of their investigations. Each time, their work is exhaustive, professional, and polished, and it's always been that way. Their talent comes from the detectives themselves. They have a first-class department culture that starts and ends with personnel. The feel they have for the Raymore community and what matters to crime activity is incredible. If there's a problem, they know about it and will knock it out. We at the prosecutor's office consider it a privilege to work with Raymore, and we don't say this lightly or with any fluff. They set the bar and are as good as it gets. The City Council is owed respect for that and should be proud of putting the community safety and security first." And that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions.
Thank you. A couple of hands. Go ahead, Jay.
Just a comment, Chief, outstanding report. I agree with all of that. One thing that you didn't brag on, because it's hard to do with stats, is our low crime rate, the preventative measures that your people take on a daily basis. And that's the reason that a lot of people really like to be here in Raymore. They have that feeling of safety and security, and it's due to you and your folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Moorhead.
Chief Zimmerman, help me out here, because I'm glad you mentioned the Metro Crime recommendation of Captain Wilson. But in fact, isn't that case already submitted to the Cass County Circuit Court with a suspect.
They actually got a confession,
So,
thanks to Captain Wilson.
So, I mean, very quickly, so.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Mr. Feuerborn?
Thank you, Chief. Just update the council on the current agenda for next Monday night's work session. We currently have 4 items on for you all. We will be presenting an ordinance to you for your consideration at the following Monday night's meeting. For lack of a better term, the ordinance is to get to an ordinance allowing us to restrict construction traffic on Creekmore Drive. Before we get to that point, we'd prefer to show you all a little bit more general ordinance that is broader in scope, that will allow Mr. Crass to, with council approval in the future, to bring roads to the council that may have unique situations in front of them that we are looking for a broader ability to control traffic on those streets. Of course, Monday night, when we bring the broader ordinance to you all, we will be describing the specific conditions that exist in the anomaly of Creekmore Drive, so you'll know what generated all of this. The second item coming before you is what I don't know what else to call it, but naming things with my bunny quotes. There are 2 items that the council will be needing to name in the very, very, very near future. One is the building that's going to go behind here, and one is what we have up to now called Relocated Kentucky Road, and there's been a lot of staff discussion generated from those, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of council discussion generated as well. The third item coming before you all is a meeting with Judge Nigro. I have asked him to be here. Judge Nigro's contract with the council will be up in January. I thought it would be a good time for you all to have an update meeting with him and talk about how Senate Bill 5 has impacted our court and other things that he finds to be of significance to share with you all. If you all would have anything you'd want to be sharing with him or any questions you have, he's here for that. And then at the end of the meeting, I will ask you if you wish to have an ordinance presented to you to renew his contract in January and the details of that. The final item currently on for next Monday night is a discussion with the council of the public art projects and process that are going to be used, or that we're proposing to be used for those particular projects. As you know, right now we actually have 2 of them on the burner. The public art project / entrance signage to be located on the Cadence project property that Cadence is paying for, and the Arts Commission is proposing a piece of public art of some sort to be associated with the soon-to-be-named building behind City Hall. So both of those kind of need to be presented to the council, because there are differences and nuances to each of those projects that are associated with the council, and ultimately we want you to be comfortable with how those are going through. So those are the 4 items on for next Monday night. And that concludes staff reports, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of staff? Thank you. Next item is committee reports. We don't have anything officially on here, but Mr. Moorhead, do you have an update with the Charter Review Commission?
Yes, the Charter Review Commission met last Tuesday. We had a wonderful first start. We got into the first 3 articles of the charter. Little interesting process. We're trying to get everybody involved, so it kind of on purpose kind of had our first night to be a little slower, and kind of like a car. You got to go in first gear. It's the most efficient gear, but it's the most important. But everybody got engaged. We had a good feedback from there, and as we continue to go, I think we'll pick up some pace. And but there was a lot of good things discussed, a lot of good feedback. I'd encourage people, I know that it broadcast last week on our city channels.
Just recorded, sir. Only recorded for posterity's
Audio.
sake.
I watched it.
You did?
Yes, I actually watched it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is later recorded. I thought you meant live.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry,
no,
sir.
not live, no,
Yeah.
but it does play. So hopefully, I know people are always so engaged with the council meetings. These charter meetings are also, if you cannot attend, are wonderful discussions about how citizens are talking about how your city operates. So very good topics for discussion, and I really appreciated all 9 members. So we had a good meeting. We'll dive into more topics here in a little over a week.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Moorhead? Okay, thanks. Moving right along. Next item is the consent agenda. I know there's interest in separating the 2 items on there. Is there a motion to dispose of the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda to include items A, City Council minutes for September 26, 2016, and item B, City Council special meeting minutes for October 3, 2016.
Second.
The motion been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda items both A and B. Is there discussion? Mr. Holman? Mr. Barber?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like the consent agenda to be split, item B to be separated. I wasn't in attendance in that meeting.
Okay. All right, then we'll go after item A first, if that's appropriate at this time. All those in favor of item A, do we need another motion?
No.
To split that? No, I didn't think so. That's by consent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's automatic, okay. In order, then I would look for a motion to approve item A of the consent agenda, which is the city council meeting minutes of September the 26th. All those in favor? I have 5 yes.
I'm going to abstain since I was not a member of the council at
Okay,
the time.
and 1 abstention, and 2 absent. Motion passes on the approval of the September 26th meetings. Now, the next item is the City Council special meeting minutes of October the 3rd, 2016. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain?
I'm abstaining as well, though I was here.
4 yes, 2 abstentions, 2 absent. Motion passes. Thank you. Now we move on to unfinished business. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3208 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3208 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri approving a conditional use permit for the Raymore Activity Center Public Building to be located in Recreation Park, Raymore, Cass County, Missouri.
Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3208?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3208 for Recreation Activities Center conditional use permit.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve Bill 3208. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes 6-0, 6, 2 absent, 6 yes, 2 absent. I'll get it right. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3207 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3207 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri amending the fiscal year 2016 operating budget.
Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3207?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3207 for the fiscal year 2016 budget amendment for the fiscal year 2016 operating funds.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve Bill 3207. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? I have 6 yeses, no noes, and 2 absent. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3209 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3209 by title only, an ordinance approving the cooperative agreement among the City of Raymore, Missouri and the Highway 58 and Dean Avenue Community Improvement District and Raymore Partners, LLC, to implement the Highway 58 and Dean Avenue Community Improvement District.
Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3209?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3209 for the agreement for the Highway 58 and Dean Avenue CID.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve Bill 3209. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion passes 6-0 to 2 absent. We're on to new business now. Could I please have the first reading, or excuse me, could I please have the reading of Resolution 16-47 by title only?
The reading of Resolution 16-47 by title only. A resolution of the City of Raymore, Missouri confirming the decision to install sidewalk on certain identified undeveloped lots and authorizing city staff to take the steps necessary to have sidewalk installed.
There's our staff report.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Cataret to make the staff report.
Thank you, sir. At your September 26th meeting, council held 10 public hearings on those undeveloped lots that were determined to meet the threshold requirement for having sidewalk installed by the property owner by August 1st of 2016, but wherein the property owner failed to install the sidewalk. Council did vote to include all 10 lots on the list to have the city install the sidewalk. Should the council confirm tonight that the city shall install the sidewalk on those 10 lots that have been identified, staff would notify each property owner that the city will commence installation no earlier than September 1st of 2017. Should the property owner obtain a building permit or install the sidewalk themselves prior to September 1st of 2017, the city will remove the lot from the installation list. The item that's changed since the public hearings were held was the date by which the city will install sidewalk. We initially were talking April 1st, which is what we utilized this year, but it's become important for the city to, when we install sidewalk, to do it late in the year because of the assessment process. So staff did discuss after the public hearings what would be the earliest that we would install sidewalk on, and determined that September 1st of 2017 would be the earliest we'll install the sidewalk on these 10 lots. In essence, giving the property owners a one-year extension, but it does give us the ability to install the sidewalk in the fall of next year should the owner not install the sidewalk or get a permit to construct the building. So Resolution 1647 does confirm the city to install the sidewalk, but no earlier than September 1st of 2017. That concludes staff report.
And I assume this would fall in line with our regular sidewalk installation replacement program, and because we do that at the end of the summer, that would be taken up during that time because frankly it'd be cheaper for us to have our sidewalk guy be doing it all at the same time, correct?
That's how we've been doing it in the past, yes, sir. I would assume we would do the same next year.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, any questions? Mr. Holman?
Just a confirmation, Mr. Cataret. I think I know the answer, but for those that weren't here, by extending the deadline from April 1st to September 1st, those that were actually here to ask for an extension are getting, in fact, a de facto extension, even though their lot was approved to have the sidewalk on. They have a full year now of which to comply, sell the lot, or do anything else to make this the way they want it to go, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Moorhead?
Mr. Cataret, during that meeting, I had intimated July 1st as a date I was looking at. Since staff is moving that even further to September 1st, is that going to push or jeopardize any of our deadline requirements afterward, or do you feel the September 1st date is still safe for the city to be able to stay on track of what it needs to report?
We do feel that the September 1st date will keep the city on track to have the sidewalk installed in a timely fashion next fall, then have time to do these special assessments for those that we have to install the sidewalk on. So we feel very comfortable with that date.
Do you feel that, I'm assuming that all of this is spelled out in our UDC. Do we need to subsequently, is this a one-time thing, or do you suspect we should change our code to reflect this more permanently, or do you think this is a one-time thing?
I don't believe it's a one-time thing. I think we'll see this schedule that we utilize continue in years moving forward. The date for when the city will install sidewalk is not part of the code. We have the deadline, the time frame for when the property owner shall do it, and what happens if they don't. Through this process, our public hearing process and this resolution is where we're establishing the deadline by which the time frame by which the city will install sidewalk on. So that part is not actually part of the UDC. The UDC just gives the city the authority to do it if the property owner does it after being notified.
But the process, we voted under resolution, though, to approve this schedule. So that's what I was referring to. So if we, I guess maybe this is for Mr. Zur, since this is kind of a unilateral grant of us to go beyond what they were noticed up on for their public hearing, I don't see any legal problem with that in and of itself, because we're giving them a benefit that more than what they were already to receive. But if we do this and move to September 1st, based on Resolution 16-47, do we need to address the fact that we had previously approved a schedule under resolution? Do we need to amend that? Do we need to address that? Or could that because if next year we notice sidewalks up or property owners up, we're noticing up under the April 1st time based on our governing resolution. So do we need to address that issue and maybe amend?
There were actually no dates in the governing resolution for it, sir. The dates have always been a matter of each year, because each lot did have different dates at different times. So we've assigned dates. Correct, Mr. Cataract?
Correct that we've never assigned an official date of April 1st. That was an internal date that we utilized only.
And if I could explain the date thing just very briefly, the reason we had April 1st down is because that was originally because that was the date that we could begin spring work, because this particular program's work had to be done before our normal sidewalk work to actually get the special assessments in for the ones we had to do to the county by the September 1 deadline that all of our special assessments have to be placed into by. It turns out that for sidewalk assessments, for the assessments associated with work like this, the deadline date is actually March 1. So we are able to extend the time frame by which to September 1 pretty unilaterally now and in the future, because those assessments do not have to be in until March 1.
Okay, good, thank you.
Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Cataract, I want to commend you for coming back with a date, a firm date like that. I know we talked about best case scenario, worst case scenario, and there was a lot of gray area there, which typically opens up to a misunderstanding. And I know more aspirin or Tylenol, whatever you have to take, didn't want you to have to do that. So I think this is much better. And like you said, it does give them 1 full year. And that's what pretty much everybody asked for, too. So I think it accomplished 2 things. So I commend you and your staff for doing that. Thank you.
Anything else? We have a motion on the floor, correct?
We do not,
Not
Your
yet?
Honor.
Okay. Is there a motion to dispose of Resolution 16-47?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt Resolution 16-47 for the confirmation of undeveloped lots to have sidewalks installed by the city.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve Resolution 16-47. Any additional discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0 to 2. The next item is could I please have the first reading of Bill 3213 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3213 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri approving the fiscal year 2017 budget.
This requires a public hearing. Do we wish to open a public hearing prior to the staff report? Okay, I'll open the public hearing at this time, and we'll request a staff report.
Thank you, sir. I would ask Ms. Watson to make the staff report for this item.
Thank you, sir. The proposed fiscal year 2017 budget was presented to the City Council in mid-August. The Council has had an opportunity to discuss the budget at work sessions and meetings since it was presented by the City Manager. The budget before the Council reflects the City Manager's proposed budget and CIP with proposed changes to the operating and capital budgets indicated by Council at various meetings presented in Exhibit A for Council consideration and addition. The fiscal year 17 budget begins November 1, 2016. That concludes staff report.
Thank you. Any questions of staff at this time? Thank you, Cindy. I now open it up to the public. If anyone would wish to address this ordinance proposal of adoption of FY 2017 city budget, please step forward, state your name and your address, and please try to hold your comments to 3 minutes or less. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3213. Mr. Mayor? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
I move that we approve Bill 3213, adoption of the fiscal year 2017 city budget to include the city manager's proposed budget and the capital improvement program, along with the proposed changes to the operating and capital budgets indicated by the council at the various meetings, with the exception of the $150,000 transfer to the Parks Tax Sales Fund for trail lighting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve Bill 3213 with the exception, as presented, with the exception of the $150,000 to be withdrawn for trail lighting. Is there any additional discussion? Mr. Holman?
Thank you, sir. As stated before, this item was the last item inserted into the budget at our last meeting. I am in favor of exploring some trail lighting in the future for either our linear parks, our city parks, or to-be parks such as Hawk Ridge. However, I have my gut tells me that we need to flesh that idea out a little bit more. We've talked about some linear implementations such as overhead lighting. We talked about the possibility of bollards. I think we're probably looking at a better solution of an individualized plan for a trail in a step-by-step process. There's going to be places where it's lit, some place where it needs complete lighting, some place where it just needs accent lighting. I think it's a good idea, and I think it's something that we need to look at, but I think that council needs to look at it, as well as Parks Board and staff, and I think we need at least the next year to kind of flesh that plan out to where we do it right, and that's why I removed it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moorhead?
I'm actually supportive of this program. I like the idea of lighting our trails. The amount itself is not the concern to me. $150,000, because if we are going to light all our trails, it's going to cost more than $150,000. So this is kind of a jumping off point. I think that's what Ms. Abdelgawad is not here. I'm surprised the one and only time I think she'll actually view me as speaking on her behalf. This is a project though that she wanted to get on the table, and so I support that idea. Again, the dollar amount is not really determining the project at this point. So I can go either way on this. We can either add it in and fund it with something low. The only concern I have is I don't want to over-obligate too much money of our undesignated reserve, only because we have a large number of projects that the citizens voted on the bonds that we're going to be turning soil this coming fiscal year. And with that, with any construction project, you run the risk of overage and change orders and things. And so I'm hesitant to want to put any money out there. I'd like to keep all of the million, but we have a lot of good programs we want to fund here. In addition, on a personal note, in taking a look at this, I started myself entertaining the idea that different aspects of the trails have different needs. For example, maybe we look at bollards for the entry points, because that would light the areas that people would be more interested in looking down to see how they navigate onto the trail. While in some of the back areas, I'm thinking of Rec Park along the tree line, bollards wouldn't necessarily offer the safety issue. Maybe those would be kind of up top illuminating. And, we talked about light pollution. And so we'd need to look at areas where we could light that would reduce the negative impact of light. And so I think there's a lot of topics here to be discussed under this. So I'm supportive of the program. and like I said, to me, I think it's going to be a 2-year or more program anyway. So whether it gets on this on this specific exhibit or not, I don't think it's going to be lost for future consideration. So I can support either way. The motion is to exclude it. I don't think anybody's talking negatively about it, but we would like to see some planning. So,
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I will we'll go ahead and move forward with it. All those in favor of the passage of Bill 3213, first reading of Bill 3213 with the accepted.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
We have to close the public hearing.
Well, I thought he did.
Oh, you did? Thank you, sir.
Sorry. So we may-
I stand corrected.
Okay. Now I'm going to throw the hammer at you. Okay, where was I now? This is with the exception of the removal of the $150,000 for trail lighting. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? 6 yes. No no's, 2 absent. Motion passes. Thank you. Next item, could I please have a reading by title only of Resolution 16-48?
The reading of Resolution 16-48 by title only, a resolution of the City of Raymore, Missouri approving the 2017 through 2021 Raymore Capital Improvements Program.
This item also requires a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing at this time, and now we'll ask for a staff report.
Thanks, sir. I'll call Ms. Watson.
Hi, Cindy. Long time no see. How are you?
Thank you, sir. At the time the fiscal year budget is submitted to council for approval, a 5-year capital improvement program, the CIP, is submitted. The capital program for the next fiscal year is part of the council's approval of the operating budget, including the amendment you just made. The CIP for the following 4 years, serves as the planning guide. The proposed 2017 through 2021 CIP was presented to council in mid-August and was discussed at subsequent meetings. The CIP is also reviewed by and was subject to a public hearing before Planning and Zoning Commission. The CIP is now considered for your consideration. That concludes staff report.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Thank you, Cindy. And because we are in a public hearing at this time, I would ask that if anyone from the audience would like to address the capital improvement program for 2017 to 2021, to please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing at this time and ask for a motion to dispose of Resolution 16-48.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt Resolution 16-48 for the approval of the 2017 through 2021 Capital Improvement Program.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the approval of Resolution 16-48. Any further discussion? Mr. Fearborn?
With the action that was taken on the previous item, because the capital improvement program as proposed would have included the trail lighting in the capital improvement program in next year, I would recommend to the council that it be, at the very least, amended to the 2018 fiscal year, if not put in a future year for council discussion.
Okay, is there a motion to amend?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I will restate my motion. I'll withdraw my original motion, restate my motion that we move to adopt Resolution 16-48 for the approval of the 2017 through 2021 Capital Improvement Program to reflect the changes made on Bill 3213 of the removal of the trail program from the 2017 budget, but to include the trail program in the CIP unfunded for the 2018 fiscal year.
Second.
I'm confused. Okay, so, all right, so we've changed it. We've just changed the motion is all. We don't have to vote on the amendments, correct? All right. It's a whole new motion. All right. I think we can handle that. So has a motion been made and seconded, as you heard Mr. Moorhead state? I won't try to repeat it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. We now move into public comment section of our agenda. Please identify yourself for the record and keep your comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Seeing no one approach the podium, I will move on to Mayor and Council communication. Mr. Seamers, why don't you start us off tonight?
I wasn't sure if I was going first or last tonight, so. Anyway, I would like to thank the council for appointing me to fill the vacant spot in Ward 1. I very much look forward to working with the council again and the city staff, at least for the next 6 months, and then I look forward to running again in April. I was told that my email and my phone number will be published on the website in the morning, so feel free to look out there and give me a call or let me know what's going on. But I look forward to working with you guys again. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Moorhead.
Welcome, Mr. Seamers. I have to say, you had a chance to escape the craziness of this, and somehow you'd wanted to come back, but we're a whole new set of crazy, so at least there's something new for you to get to know. I want to thank Sandra and Sharon regarding the art. You know, it really, it's kind of a little bit of a luxury for us because we get the great vantage point from up here, and it's fun to see the new art as it periodically shows up, and it's fantastic. So I love that display. And I do want to say again, since apparently the polls, the polarity of the planet has shifted. I'm speaking on behalf of Ms. Abdelgawad. The lighting program, we have a second vote on this particular issue, so obviously I expect that she'll want to speak on this at our next public meeting for the second read. But I do have to say that I think we kind of helped remedy some of that and kept the issue alive, keeping it in the CIP, moving it to a year that's probably a little better for us to be able to do some planning on it and to come back with, our best programs are when our staff is able to properly plan, and this will give it the time it deserves. So hopefully she'll accept that as at least consolation until she can speak for herself. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Holman.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to Mr. Seamers. To quote Mr. Moorhead, you've joined a whole new set of crazies. I concur. Thanks to both the Art Commission and the Charter Commission for their ongoing work and their reports to us and the public. Good work going on. I know that's extra time on everybody's part, and I do appreciate it. One thing I think that gets overlooked is as we move into next month, Veterans Day will be coming up, and I think the mayor, without trying to speak for him, would agree with me. We tend to take for granted the good things in life, and one of those things is the continuous reports that we get from Mr. Carteret and his department. If you look into that and you understand what you're seeing, that's economic good news, folks. Not every city around here gets to share that. Look at our housing permits. They're up, and they've been continually up for a number of years since the recession ended. Our economic development on the business side, thanks to Mr. Tapp, we're going to be seeing some, as he refers to it, vertical movement on the Cadence property. So that's good news. And it's just something that we report it, we gloss over it, and we move on. But that's good for all of us. That's good for the city, and it's good for our citizens. So thank you for all the work that you all are doing. Chief, again, I want to recognize the excellent report that you gave us tonight. As you know how I feel, your department doesn't get enough recognition, and I really like the explanation that you give to us and the folks at home on that. I know we have a fantastic police department, and don't forget that preventative piece, because our crime rate is low and people relish that, and it's something that it's easy to take for granted, as the mayor and the former chief can tell you, but it is very important to the people that live here, very important, and your presence is felt. And the last thing I'd have is for you, Mr. Fearborn, and your staff. I know some of you have been on pins and needles since the day you put this budget in front of us, and it still has another reading to go, but excellent work on everything that you've done this far. One more reading to go, and then it becomes final. get in the mayor's new car and strap on your seatbelt because we're going 80 miles an hour. Outstanding, sir. Thank
There
you.
you go. Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't expecting to go next, but I'm ready. I wanted to thank all the staff that worked on the Trucktoberfest. Several of us went out there, and my family all went out there, and as soon as they got their food, they dispersed and went 5 different directions. So I was sitting there by myself eating for a while, but hopefully next year we'll get twice as many trucks. I'm sure the trucks that were there were like, oh my gosh, we ran out of food in every single truck. One truck still had a little bit of food, but they didn't have any plates left, and that was the one I was in line with. But still had a wonderful time. The music was great. Need a couple more trucks, and then each line will be a little shorter. But definitely the trucks that were there will tell the other trucks that, hey, this isn't a waste of your time. The people want to buy what you have to sell. So it was great. Also wanted to thank all the people that work out at the park. My son has recently bought a new scooter so he can go to the skate park. His old one, when he would go down the ramps, got destroyed. So he has been mowing the lawn and earning we've taught him about interest and how to use our credit cards and pay us back the interest, but that's all due to the skate park. And then the last thing, I wanted to thank all the staff, the city staff that's not currently in the building right now, that's probably home, not at work, especially the people that have been dodging the traffic. I know there's been a lot of work done on the streets with all the Google Fiber and everything that's going on. I know we have a lot more of just day-to-day work that has to be done to oversee that, and appreciate all of that that's going on. Thank you.
Mr. Barber.
I almost was going to say no comment since everybody has said everything I was going to say by the time it gets to me, but I can't. But welcome, Mr. Seamers. I don't know if crazy is the right word to describe us, but different might be. Unbelievable. I like to use the word unbelievable. It works in any situation, good or bad. Unbelievable. I went to Trucktober as well. I had to catch a 4 o'clock flight the next morning, but I didn't want to miss the first annual Trucktober, and it kind of blew me away how many folks showed up for that. And they ran out of food, which people were still happy because the hot dog cart was still serving food, and the band was awesome. We had a discussion, I know tonight, about lighting, even though it was trail lighting, but if you went to that, you could kind of tell we need to look at our parks and recs, and there's obviously some lighting needs, and as we grow and our parks are changing, we're going to have some other needs as well, and maybe even some movable lighting, so but anyway, had a great time there. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hubach.
I'm very much interested in the trail lighting. I think it's a safety issue, and I hope that we get started on it right away.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, I have several issues. I wanted to thank the people of Raymore for their patience. I know that things are just getting started out on 58 Michael, and the curbs are starting to look good, so I know that the milling projects are going to be coming here pretty quick. I ask for your continued patience as we make 58 another great looking throughway through our city as we repave that. The craft show turned out great on Saturday. I'm hoping is that Lions Club? Is that who hosted that? They did a great job with that. There was about 35 vendors out there. My wife and I went up there. They did a great job with that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to Trucktoberfest. I was on my way to the Ryder Cup. I know. Guys got to make some sacrifices. That was fun. Yeah, but they didn't win. And then, a bit about what Mr. Holman said. Veterans Day is coming up. We're going to celebrate ours on November the 10th. It will be at TB Hanna Station. It'll be a great event. Starts at 4 p.m. We've got some great guest speakers. And I'm hoping that folks will come out to that event. It's a new venue for us, so it's a new venue for this event, and we're hoping that it goes over great, and we're able to show off just what little progress has already been made there at TB Hanna Station. And then finally, I wanted to re-welcome you, John Seamers. It's going to be great working with you in a different capacity on my behalf anyway. And I'm glad you chose to dedicate more of your life to this city, and we appreciate it very much. It's going to be good working with you again. And that's all I have at this time. We have no reason to move into executive session, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? It unanimously passes. Thank you. Have a great evening.